Barber?
I did. So it says he used the Red River frame technique to build his house. And it says here, John Schultz, in 1872, fled to this house after escaping Louis Riel's forces in Upper Fort Garry.
Isn't that pretty cool, though, really?
That is pretty cool.
It is really cool. Like, I mean, maybe that's what part of makes it a historical house, right?
A little bit of everything. Because it's been in every...
extra history behind it, right?
Yeah,
you know what I mean?
It's been a little bit of everything, right?
Yeah.
So Barber, Schultz's real estate partner, smuggled him out of the colony, and the house was vacant for many years and was damaged by arsonists in June of 2010. Yeah. So it's kind of like flicking all over this place.
Yeah.
Oh, this is from the Manitoba Historical Society.
Yeah.
I want to give them full credit.
Oh, yeah.
The house has been through some major
renovations.
Major renovations. And then it says that...
It's reopened as a community facility?
At one point it was.
It says in August of 2011. It's been... So what it... See, that's what it... I don't get.
Okay.
If it's a historical house and it's a community facility, so what is it then? Is it just got some sort of...
It was.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
I don't know. That's the thing that kind of always... I don't get it, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I guess because it's known as the oldest house in the city, it's just north of the CPR station. It's described as a half turn away from the neighboring houses, seemingly to look at something that they can't see, like the past. Ooh. Where's my sound effect? I need that.
Oh. Ooh.
Ooh. It faced the old Fort Douglas and the Logan House long before the railway was built, on a high embankment bisecting Point Douglas, jutting out into the Red River. It was described as a log house neatly plastered and stuccoed in white, trimmed with mustard color paint. Its neat face looked down on a long garden path to a picket gate.
I don't have the picket gate.
I do.
Give me the picket gate.
No, it's something else, sweetie.
Oh, shit.
There used to be a veranda that was across the front of it, but that is long gone. And then it says that there was also 9 paned windows that were intact. And it says there was a gable end set on the corner wise. So it's really interesting because Lily Barber Sparrow, who's the daughter of E.L. Sparrow, she was like probably up until 1956, she was still the registered owner of the house.
Okay.
As per the Henderson Directory.
Right.
So I think she was actually still living in the house at that point.
Okay.
And she had an older sister who actually ended up living in the Leland Hotel in that era from the 30s to the 50s. But that was a good hotel back then.
Yeah, I know. Yeah.
It was a little more posher.
Yeah.
And it was still in the vicinity. It says here that her father had come actually from Minnesota, and he was trading settlers' goods. He was trying to escape the American Civil War. Isn't that weird?
It is weird.
That weird connection,
that whole history thing is kind of cool, though. I like that when people are,
He was actually 26 when all this happened. And then he met Barbara Logan, and she was the daughter of Robert Logan. And he was a retired fur trader, like, in this vicinity.
See, that's just like, hey, what did you do for a living?
Yeah.
Oh, I was a fur trader. Like,
But, okay, so I was reading this, but I fell down a rabbit hole.
Uh-huh.
And this is a nice description from the Manitoba Historical Society. And I'm not dissing it by any means. Mm-hmm. But I found actually a way more interesting story about how they met because...
Oh, cool.
Yeah.
That is cool. I love when you find those little, like, little blips where it's, like, correspondence or something. It's so cool.
Because he was actually quite business savvy, right? Mm-hmm. So after he moved into the Red River settlement, he made the most of his knowledge of, of what the best prospects was.
Right.
So not only, it's like a career move, I guess you would say, not only did he marry Barbara Logan, right? And she was the daughter of the Scottish immigrant Robert Logan and marry a Saulteaux woman, right? But Robert Logan was one of the earliest immigrants of the Red River settlement, having moved there in 1819 with his wife and eldest 5 children. He was also one of the most successful, opening up the settlement's first windmill in 1825.
A windmill? Mm-hmm. Oh, cool.
So this would be Barbara's dad.
Yeah.
And since Barbara's own business sense did not exactly inspire confidence, a certain amount of the continued indulgence of his business endeavors sprang from his social connections. Do you see where I'm going here?
Yeah.
He marries his daughter.
Uh-huh.
Right?
Uh-huh.
He basically then buys this property from Logan.
Okay.
Probably like a burst, like...
Yeah.
What do they call it? Dowry, maybe?
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
I mean, it's not explained as much, but you kind of got that kind of
feel about it.
Yeah, and then just with his association, now he's marrying into the Logan family. Yeah, right.
Yeah,
he's now into one of the more prominent local families.
For money.
He's strengthened his personal connection to the actual successful businessman W.G. Francesca, which is, it says, Barbara Barber was aunt to Francesca's wife, Margaret Logan. We'll talk about like overlapping.
Yeah.
But I guess that name itself was impressive with dignitaries in the city and aldermen at the time.
Wow.
He kind of I'm not saying weaseled in, that's disrespectful.
Oh,
But he married into prosperity.
He shystered his way in. How's that? Shyster.
He saw a need. He filled a need. And her name was Barbara. Just kidding.
Yeah. Barber?
So now it said here, if Barber did immigrate to Canada to try and avoid the upheaval conflict, he was soon to be disappointed because that was short-lived because of the whole turn with the transfer of Rupert's land from the Hudson Bay Company.
Good God. So
and it triggered the Red River Resistance. So he went from one pan into another fire.
Yeah. Yeah. Jump around.
Exactly.
Yeah, burn it everywhere.
And then just to continue that, it says some prominent Métis families did remain in Manitoba like the Logans. Mm-hmm. Barbara's father-in-law, Robert Logan, had died 3 years earlier in 1866. A giant in early business, the senior Logan had purchased Fort Douglas for his own personal estate. Barbara's brother-in-law, Alexander, says here, he married her sister, Sarah. Wait. Barbara's brother-in-law, Alexander.
I'm like, wait, really?
Well, because she had a sister named Sarah, and he married her. He became the mayor 3 separate times in the next 20 years, while Barber was well connected through his relationship with the Logan family, and his own business sense seemed to only get worse. I guess it would only save him for so much, right?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I mean, if you suck at business, you suck at business. You can marry your shit away.
Do you want to read the dated failures?
Dated failures? Oh my God!
Wait, let me get my drink.
Oh yeah, pour yourself more. 1871, Barber tries to open a store in Portage la Prairie. It fails. 1872, Barber opens a saloon in North Dakota. Oh, he's jumping all over the place.
He is.
Thought to be a surefire moneymaker.
Of course.
It fails. 1873, Barber purchases a newspaper, the Nor'Wester.
Ooh, we don't say that word on this podcast.
Which goes so poorly that Barber has to seek a loan from John Schultz to keep it afloat.
Wait.
It goes into debt.
What was the name of that paper again?
What was the Nor'Wester.
There we go. And that's all I'll say about that.
That's terrible.
I know.
Later in 1873, Barber is summoned to court by his many angry debtors. Jeez, no shit. 1875, Barber starts to sell off his property at Point Douglas, trying to pay his
not
debts.
having a good life, is he?
At this time, Point Douglas was developing into an area of elite residential housing, with James Ashdown and W.G. Fonseca also holding land there. 1877, Winnipeg enters a boom. Boom!
Boom!
Barber becomes a co-partner in the Winnipeg Ice Company, which is notable being...
we have so much of it.
For being an early business failure in the boom era. 1880, Barber, optimistic to a fault, or perhaps to the point of ignorance, assumes operation of the Manitoba Soap, Candle, and Oil Works Company.
And...
almost too predictably.
And...
it fails.
But that company... Mm-hmm. I don't know if it's in relation to it, but that is actually still in Point Douglas. There was that big fire
Shut
there
the front door. Really?
I'm pretty sure, right when you go off of the bridge there on, when you take the bridge.
Oh, he just assumed operation of it. So basically he sucked as a businessman.
Still there, but I think it burnt down a few years ago. But it was there. I'm sure that's...
Yeah, but that's 1880. So if it was there till a few years ago.
But this is in Point Douglas.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's like
that's
cockroaches.
Crazy,
you can't kill them.
Well, yeah. Well, I know, but really, like, shit. He must have been, like, so shitty at business.
He had, like, the bad touch, eh?
He just found good brides.
I guess. But the property just... Okay, and then when I was searching newspaper articles in 1895, somebody actually tried to acquisition all his property.
Everything. As one lump sum.
Yeah, and it was like you know how they have to post it in the newspaper. And it was his business acquisitions because of... and it was almost like a warrant for his arrest as well. It was a sheriff. And it listed the lot that it was seizing. Yeah. And because at that point he owned a majority of Point Douglas, right? Including like where Euclid, right?
Wow.
It must have listed about 17 lot numbers in that parish that he had owned. Now, whether he actually built other houses on it, I'm not 100% sure. But it was known that there was actually like 13 acres or something around that house that was all his.
Wow.
Like that was all his at one point.
Wow. And he fucked it all up.
Yeah.
Wow.
Bad touch.
Seriously.
Yeah. Wow.
Some people just do not have the gift of anything.
No.
No, like really.
Exactly.
I don't really have the gift of much.
Au contraire, you make excellent horror paintings.
I make really...
Au contraire.
Au contraire.
So I guess...
that's terrible though.
Yeah, so...
Like seriously, can you imagine? Actually, in that time, I don't know why. Like, I mean, now, like, people work and fail and do their best every day that they can in today's life, right?
Yeah.
But way back when you're starting a brand new shitting thing and not doing well...
Yeah,
it's a little bit different.
Exactly.
When money was so scarce, really, right? You know, it's not like there was like millionaires roaming the world then.
Yeah,
mind you.
So I guess after about 10 years of disappointing business ventures, he returned. E.L. Barber returned to the relative safety of real estate in 1890. He got himself appointed as an issuer of marriage licenses to supplement that income. So after the railway was routed through Point Douglas, the neighborhood was split into two. The southern area becoming home to railway associated industrial buildings, and the northern area remaining residential. But with rapidly dropping land values. Yeah. Oh, that guy really was just like the bad touch. He really was. So after he died in 1909, his daughter Lily Barber Sparrow continued to live in the house into the 1960s. So that part is true.
Yeah, that's
what I researched. I was telling Sherry earlier, I found that. I think I might have mentioned on here.
Yeah, could have been.
Henderson Directory.
Yeah.
So from the 1960s up until 1974, the house was rented out before being taken over by the city. In 1979, the city of Winnipeg report called it seriously deteriorated, and that was no surprise.
Yeah, no shit.
He can't even take care of his business assets. I'm sure
he's
not
going to take care of his friggin' house.
I know.
No kidding.
The house had been standing for over 100 years by that point, and in 1980, the Historic Buildings Committee shockingly recommended the house be dismantled.
Really?
However, a grassroots campaign in the mid-1980s to restore the building was successful, and from 1986 to 1988, around $160,000, which is probably about almost $1 million nowadays.
Yeah.
Right?
Oh, yeah.
Was spent on the Barber House to restore the historic building. Oh, excuse me. Completed. I had to do that. Completed. That's why I was talking so improperly. It was a belch that was sitting there. It was completed by 1989, and unfortunately, in 1993, the building was damaged by fire. And was that deliberately set? Yeah, of course it was. And a chain fence was then added to discourage arsonists. But the building, still owned by the city of Winnipeg, continued to deteriorate for a number of years after that. So that's the main idea. Of the history.
Do you know in 1903, do you know how much the house was assessed for?
No.
$300.
1903?
1903, the house was assessed at $300.
Yikes.
And it climbed to $750 in 1910.
Wow.
Yeah. It dropped again in 1950 to $500.
Wow.
It had no prestige until 1942. It was dilapidated in 1956, and it reached such a sad state of disrepair that it was suitable for wrecking for 36 cents.
Oh, nice.
And then there was a fire in 1960.
So
that's crazy, though, eh? Like, really? Can you imagine? $300 house.
Yeah.
$300.
Yeah. That's insane.
That's nuts.
It's not even rent.
No, not even close.
No,
I know.
So one interesting that I came across, because I was looking for deaths in the house. Now we'll get into the haunting part in a minute, but the funny thing was in 1959, his grandson, the gentleman's name I can't remember. I have the newspaper ads here, but they're so tiny and my old eyes can't see it. He turned over about 2 bushels worth of documents found in the attic in 1959, turned it over to the city to be archived, and it was like Christmas cards, like the family like basically kept every single scrap of paper, just like my mom Helga would.
People, birthday cards and everything, throw it in a bag.
But in
those
or whatever. Days, it had meaning, right?
It did, and they were
Receipts,
handwritten and
everything.
Shit, right? Yeah, it wasn't like.
And apparently, he found dozens and dozens of, I don't want to say love letters. However, the grandson found communique of a lady named Stella.
No.
And she lived in Minnesota.
Oh.
And she made
there was a
journeys
business
up there,
right? Somewhere?
Well, actually, that is pretty much why they're thinking the name Stella the street Stella Avenue is named after this lady, and her name was Stella Hayden, and she was actually